Dear colleagues and friends from all over Europe and beyond, very good morning, or if you are coming from another continent, good afternoon from The Hague in the Netherlands, where the headquarters of Europa Nostra are located, for this live announcements of the 2022 list of the 7 most endangered heritage sites in Europe. My name is Snežka Kvatic-Mihailović. I'm the Secretary General of Europa Nostra, and I'm delighted to be the moderator of this online event. Like last year, we have opted for an online event so as to reach as many people as possible all over Europe and beyond. And we are happy that I see that we have already almost 100 people that are connected out of the almost 300 people who registered for the event. Our staff will monitor the chat during the event. So if you have comments, questions, we will collect them all and we'll make sure that we come back to you in a written form after this event. Dear colleagues and friends, this year's announcement of our 7 most endangered program takes place in a time when we are all witnessing a tragic war caused by Russia's unprovoked and unlawful invasion of Ukraine. The citizens of Ukraine face immense suffering and hardship. The same is true for their historic cities and their invaluable cultural heritage, which have become victims of brutal and senseless destruction, or are facing imminent threat of further damage. This war is a human tragedy, and it is also a cultural tragedy. Europa Nostra, united with many other organizations and institutions, local, national, European, and international, stands in solidarity with Ukraine, its people, and its heritage. And our executive president, Hermann Patzinger, will shortly convey to you our special message with regard to Ukraine and its endangered heritage. But now, before giving the floor to our main speakers, let me briefly introduce to you the 7 most endangered program, Europa Nostra's flagship program for saving Europe's heritage at risk. The 7 most endangered program was launched in 2013 by Europa Nostra in partnership with the European Investment Bank Institute. And for almost 10 years, the program has been instrumental in further raising public awareness on the need to raise our voices and join our forces to save Europe's most fragile and most endangered heritage gems. This scheme also benefits from the support of the Creative Europe program of the European Union. We are therefore particularly proud and pleased to welcome the presence this morning with us of our guest of honor, or should I rather say, our ally of honor, or our friend of honor, who is a forceful champion of a Europe based on our shared cultural heritage and values. Madam Maria Gabriel, European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education, and Youth. Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner, dear Maria, for your vital support and participation. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much, dear Executive President Patzinger, dear Snežka, dear friends. Thank you. Thank you so much for this invitation. I must say that I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to share with you this moment dedicated to the preservation and enhancement of our cultural heritage, which is a topic truly close to my heart. Well, I would like to start by saying heritage is a vital part of our identity. And the preservation of our heritage is an essential part of protecting a sense of identity, a sense of who we are. And because in times of crisis, culture gives us something to hold on. Cultural heritage promotes togetherness, and cultural heritage connects our society. So to be better prepared for the future, we need to preserve our past. We need to study the roots of our civilizations, become conscious of history. And as generations come and go, everyone is inspired by what we have done in the past. And we are all here today because we share one purpose, ensuring that our heritage is safeguarded. Only then we can leave a lasting legacy for those to come. Indeed, Europa Nostra has answered this call. For 9 years by now, the 7 Most Endangered program raises awareness among authorities and stakeholders, thus contributing to the preservation and restoration of cultural heritage sites. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Europa Nostra for all your work, together with the European Investment Bank Institute, developing this initiative about protection of our heritage in danger. And we certainly have remarkable success stories to tell. For instance, the Udan Church of Urși village in Romania was once among the 7 most endangered. And the restoration works were a common effort spanning over more than 10 years. The results speak for themselves and were recognized last year with the European Heritage Award, as well as the Public Choice Award. Now, let me focus on 3 key elements that I would like to share with you. The first one on the threats towards our heritage. The second is the need of research and innovation to safeguard it. And the third, we need to cooperate. First, our cultural heritage is at risk due to pollution, natural hazards, or climate change, but also the damage caused by war conflicts. And of course, we need here again to express our solidarity with Ukraine, because war not only destroys lives, but everything that is important to society, to its culture and history. And I'm completely in line with the declaration of the European ministers responsible for culture and media, supporting Ukraine and its people, especially its artists, cultural and media professionals. This declaration was adopted at the ministerial meeting this month. The ministers expressed their great concern about the threats of serious damage to Ukraine's rich cultural heritage. I also fully support all initiatives to save the rich cultural heritage in Ukraine. In particular, the crowdfunding campaign launched by Europa Nostra and Global Heritage Fund, because cultural heritage in Ukraine is truly at risk. And I would like to express my solidarity with the Ukrainian people, as well with all heritage defenders. And in these dark hours, we'll do everything to support them and make their voices heard. Protecting our monuments, our nature, that is not an easy task. Climate change is another threat. And that is why you know that we set up a working group composed of member states experts to address this issue, strengthening cultural heritage resilience for climate change. And I'm really very grateful to Europa Nostra. You are one of our stakeholders that interacted with this expert group regarding the European Cultural Heritage Green Paper. And the final report, you know, that will be published this year, later, along with their recommendations. I'm really very pleased that the progress from the group's work was highlighted at COP26 last November too. But we need to continue our work in this direction. The second key element, I'm really proud to say that we can focus a high level of investment on research and innovation to preserve and enhance our heritage. For instance, Horizon Europe program plays a key role. 600 million euros have been already devoted to cultural heritage under the previous program, Horizon 2020, and more is dedicated under the current program. As you know, for the first time ever, we have a dedicated cluster on culture, cultural heritage and creativity of above 2 billion euros. So innovative solutions and techniques, assessment systems, mitigation strategies, risk management models, disaster prevention have been some of the major results delivered by Horizon 2020 project. But now, recently, we have mobilized 264 million euros on innovative research. Among them is a specific call on the effects of climate change and natural hazards on cultural heritage and remediation, with a budget of 12 million euros, which is open until 20th of April. Another important aspect, digitizing cultural heritage, is important to preserve it for future generations, as well as make it more easily accessible to citizens. And that is why Horizon Europe work program includes also the theme preserving cultural heritage through advanced digital technologies. Innovative platforms will facilitate understanding and enrich cultural experiences, including through the creation of a cultural heritage collaborative space open also to regional and local museums. Finally, I can't mention it, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology complements these investments through its new knowledge and innovation community dedicated to cultural and creative sectors this year. And cultural heritage is one of the specific sectors to be covered. Of course, we have always the common reference, the new Creative Europe program with, for the first time ever, new sectorial approach addressing the specific needs of cultural heritage. But here is coming the new European Bauhaus. It is an opportunity for the cultural heritage sectors to join forces with research and innovation, with citizens, practitioners, becoming an integral part of the preservation and safeguarding. And finally, let us join forces. To preserve our cultural heritage, we must cooperate. Cooperation also with heritage stakeholders, international organizations as UNESCO, Council of Europe, this is essential. And I'm also strongly committed to this work through our programs supporting the cultural heritage sector. So dear friends, I would like to conclude by saying thank you. Thank you for your work, for your commitment, for taking the lead in protecting our heritage and supporting our work. Multidisciplinary exchange, cooperation, coherent approach, synergies between funding instruments. This is my message, which I thank you that you gave me this opportunity of sharing it with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner, dear Maria. As usual, inspiring, very engaging. And as usual, you always call us to join forces. And that's something that we are very much on the same wavelength. And I think this program, like other activities, like our awards, is the proof how a great European institution like European Commission and the other institution of the EU can work successfully with civil society organizations and also the philanthropic organizations are part of that movement, because, you know, only together we can tackle so many challenges, and you highlighted so many different threats in times of peace and in times of war, alas. And speaking about war in Ukraine, I would like to greet on behalf of all of us our council member, Natalia Musienko, who has joined our meeting from Kiev, who has been there from the beginning of the war and having, we all know what time they're living. And Natalia, we all love you, we all support you, not only you, but all your compatriots and all our sort of cultural heritage colleagues there. But again, our executive president will say more about that. So we know, Madam Commissioner, that you have to leave us. You must have an extremely busy agenda. But just one message, because there will be an important meeting of the Council of Ministers on the 4th of April. We very much hope that the European Union institutions will also find a way to include the cultural heritage needs of our colleagues from Ukraine, and perhaps include also in the relief program, because the Commission is giving, and the European Union, a very important humanitarian and relief aid to Ukraine. We think that that's aid to heritage is a first aid. It's not second, third aid. It's the first aid, because it's important for their identity, as you pointed out, their soul and their morale. So we count on you, because we know that you can get many others leaders to sort of follow that rule. And so we shall be in touch with you, and we will further communicate also the messages and the actions that Europa Nostra is undertaking on this front. And our executive president will say more now.
Thank you very much, Snezhka. If I may, I will react in 1 minute. First of all, I can't tell you more at this moment, but believe me, we are working hard on this direction, and I'm sure that next week you will be not disappointed. So some news in 7 days. Thank you.
Thank you, and wishing you every success on many fronts of your work. So now we will turn to another great champion of a Europe based on our shared cultural heritage and values, our executive president, Professor Dr. Herman Patzinger. I'll take you from Brussels to Berlin, and I will pass the floor to him for his address and for the introduction of the video announcement that will unveil the 7 sites that the board of Europa Nostra has unanimously selected for this year's list of Europe's most endangered sites. Dear Herman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Snežka. Madam Commissioner, thank you for your participation and also for your inspiring words and also the optimism which you are giving to us. Dear colleagues and friends, dear Henry von Blumenthal, dear heritage enthusiasts from all across Europe. And of course, a special warm welcome to Natalia, our colleague, Natalia Musienko, our council member who participates from Kiev. Unbelievable, but it shows that we are reaching out until the most difficult parts of our beloved Europe. On behalf of Europa Nostra, I thank you for joining us today for the public announcement of the much awaited list of the 7 most endangered sites in Europe for 2022. This year's announcement takes place during a most alarming and deeply disturbing geopolitical context. We never would have imagined that in 2022, the cultural heritage of an entire European country would be endangered at once. While we firmly condemn the brutal invasion of Ukraine by the Russian army and mourn the immeasurable human sufferings, we are also deeply worried about the direct threat to Ukraine's invaluable cultural and natural heritage, which forms part of Europe's shared heritage, of our heritage too. Many heritage sites have already suffered severe damage, and so many more heritage sites all over Ukraine are under daily and imminent threat of destruction. On February 25th, just after the beginning of the conflict, we issued a statement in solidarity with Ukraine to raise our voice in this critical situation. The board of Europa Nostra decided unanimously to declare the cultural heritage of Ukraine as the most endangered heritage in Europe. In this worrying situation, Europa Nostra has joined forces, voices, and resources with the European and international community. Our mobilization includes, among others, several activities. First, liaising with key global heritage actors, including UNESCO, ICOMOS, ICOM, ICROM, Blue Shield, as well as with the civil society network, Our World Heritage, to coordinate concrete steps of our joint action for the Ukrainian heritage community. Second, we are liaising especially closely with ALIPH, the International Alliance for the Protection of Heritage in Conflict Areas, within the scope of our Memorandum of Understanding, which was signed on the 21st of January of this year. Together, we are actively working to ensure that Ukraine's cultural heritage will not be erased and that Ukraine's history will not be rewritten. Thirdly, in the year when we mark the 50th anniversary of the World Heritage Convention, Europa Nostra has also addressed a letter to the members of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee, conveying our strong view that due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Russian Federation has lost its legitimacy and credibility to act as the chair of the 45th session of this committee and to host this committee in Kazan. Fourth, we have also reached out to the European Union, urging its institution and member states to include emergency support for the endangered heritage in Ukraine within their comprehensive package of emergency help to this country, as well as to include cultural heritage among the areas covered by any future plans and funds of the post-war reconstruction. And fifth, last but not least, we have teamed up with the Global Heritage Fund to launch a joint crowdfunding campaign to directly support the defenders of Ukraine's endangered heritage. All donations will directly and immediately support these brave guardians of our shared history and humanity. We invite you to donate. The link will be provided in the chat. We invite you to donate, as together we can make the difference. And we are committed to align other actions, including the 7 most endangered, to support in every possible way our fellow Europeans in Ukraine. We also express solidarity with the nominators of the 2 sites shortlisted for the 7 most endangered program from Ukraine. They are now part of a wider picture where sadly many more heritage sites and even entire cities in the country are under imminent threat and subject to different priorities compared to a few months ago. In times of crisis, programs such as the 7 most endangered are all the more important, relevant, and timely. Through the 7 most endangered program, currently at its 7th edition, we wish to raise awareness about the fragile conditions of irreplaceable cultural heritage sites and places. In the past 9 years, the program has successfully acted as a catalyst to bring positive change, hope, and joint action for a brighter and more sustainable future of Europe's most vulnerable heritage gems. Let me give you some numbers. With today's announcement, we have now reached a total of 51 threatened monuments and heritage sites from 28 countries across Europe that have been selected for the 7 most endangered. Additionally, 38 sites benefited from our program as shortlisted sites, and some of them have also been resubmitted and then selected for the final list in these almost 10 years of activity. In the meantime, many sites have been saved thanks to the joint mobilization of different local and European partners. But we couldn't do that alone. To achieve all this, we needed strong partners. We are most thankful and proud of the long-standing and invaluable partnership with the European Investment Bank Institute, represented today by Henry von Blumenthal, acting dean of this institution. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Maria Gabriel, who has conveyed a strong opening message, as you have heard, to this online event. And the European Commission as a whole, that is supporting the program thanks to the network project of the Creative Europe program. If the 7 most endangered program is like that today, it is thanks to our valuable partners. We wish to commend in particular the determined commitment by the European Investment Bank Institute to save Europe's endangered cultural heritage and to invest in and fully capitalize on our shared heritage as a driver of sustainable development and of peaceful coexistence. A clear proof of this commitment is their decision to double the support of our 7 most endangered program as of 2020, allowing us to run it now on a yearly basis. Thanks to this increase, eligible selected sites can now be awarded an European Investment Bank Heritage Grant of 10,000 euros and seed money to help their efforts to save the endangered sites for present and future generations. Europa Nostra is committed to support the sites to maximize the use and impact of these grants and to build the capacities of local site owners and managers to use these to attract other grants from different sources, including EU funds. Ultimately, the program shall support the selected sites in becoming self-sustaining and sustainable in the long run. The European Investment Bank Institute also provides their extensive expertise. Through the 7 most endangered program, Europa Nostra and the European Investment Bank Institute have effectively mobilized multidisciplinary teams of heritage experts to undertake missions and assessments for the selected endangered sites and to formulate recommendations and feasible action plans for each of them. This year, despite the limitations due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the teams managed to continue their on-site assessment and some physical missions successfully took place. But our fruitful partnership goes well beyond the 7 most endangered scheme. Facing the alarming climate crisis, we have joined forces with the European Investment Bank, together with ICOMOS and the Climate Heritage Network, to produce in 2020 the European Cultural Heritage Green Paper, already mentioned by our Commissioner. The paper correlates the contribution of cultural heritage to all key areas of the European Green Deal. It proposes a series of concrete recommendations, both for policymakers and for cultural heritage stakeholders, and identifies potential conflicts, real or perceived, between heritage safeguarding and the European Green Deal action, while providing win-win strategies to overcome these conflicts. Tackling climate change is the generation's defining task. It is a growing threat to Europe's cultural heritage, be it tangible, intangible, or natural. Let us think about the Giusti Garden, a beautiful historical garden in Italy, selected for the 7 Most Endangered program in 2021, heavily affected in 2020 by severe thunderstorms, which caused extensive damage to the entire site. Or one of the shortlisted sites for this 2022 edition, the historic center of Stolberg in Germany, unexpectedly turned into a flood zone by a nearby river, where hundreds of buildings were severely damaged. But we are also convinced that cultural heritage is part of the solution. This is why Europa Nostra is even more active in culture in heritage-based climate action. And we have turned this among our key policy priorities. Among others, we have actively contributed to increase the visibility of the cultural and heritage world at the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties, and we are determined to achieve tangible results in the next conferences of the parties to come. Last year, Europa Nostra became regional co-chair of the Climate Heritage Network for Europe and the Commonwealth of Independent States. In this role, we are actively mobilizing and federating artistic, cultural, heritage, and creative actors in the region for transformative climate action. As you can see, Europa Nostra is fully determined to continue boosting our efforts to save endangered heritage in Europe and beyond, whether at risk from man-made or natural hazards. To deliver on this ambition, we shall continue federating the many heritage actors in Europe and the world, and building bridges between them and across sectors, generations, countries, and policy realms. But now the time has arrived, and what better way to conclude my address than with the launch of the video that will announce the much awaited 7 most endangered sites in Europe for 2022. Thank you for your attention, and video, please.
thanks to our executive president for the introduction and the announcement of the 7 most endangered heritage sites in Europe for 2022. As you have seen, a great variety of a different type of buildings, different types of threats in different countries of Europe. And let me just repeat that in addition to the 7 that you have just seen in the video, our executive president announced that Europa Nostra's board decided that the cultural heritage of an entire country, Ukraine, is today the most endangered heritage in Europe. And please, you have found in the chat, please donate to the joint crowdfunding campaign that we have launched together with Global Heritage Fund based in the US and UK. So it is a truly global crowdfunding. Any amount counts. So please be generous. It will go to our colleagues in Ukraine, and I think in that way we can show concretely our solidarity. And I also just want to ask you, share it, because all of you have many, many contacts and many very large networks. So share the link about that campaign and let us make it a real success. As our executive president said, this entire program would not have been such a, I think we can say, a success without a fundamentally important partnership with the European Investment Bank Institute. And that's why I'm now taking you from the Berlin via The Hague to Luxembourg. And I would like to give the floor to Henry von Blumenthal, Acting Dean of the European Investment Bank Institute. Dear Henry, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gabriel, if you're still here, Professor Partzinger, Madam Kwadwig-Mihailovic, Madam Ustienka, ladies and gentlemen. What an impressive list, and congratulations, if that's the right word, to the winners. I'm very pleased to be here today to represent the EIB Institute, which I have the honor at the moment to be in charge of, for the official announcement of the 7 most endangered in 2022. But when I say that I'm pleased, I also have to say that there is a tinge of sadness, because these are sad days for Europe and also sad days for cultural heritage. 5 weeks of war in Ukraine has created a primary tragedy in the lives of those involved in the here and now. But today we are concerned also with a secondary tragedy, with consequences which could reach into the future long after all of us have passed away. Buildings and infrastructure, landscapes and cultural heritage sites have been destroyed. It's too early to say what will become of the 7 World Heritage Sites in the Ukraine, not to mention the countless churches, monuments and museums. What can we do? For the primary tragedy, on Wednesday, the 2nd of March, the EIB approved and immediately launched an unprecedented humanitarian aid package of €2.5 million, coordinated by the Institute for 7 NGOs to help the people affected by the war in Ukraine. 2 days later, the EIB Board of Directors approved a €668 million immediate financial support package for the Ukraine, developed in close collaboration with the European Commission. Most of this has already been delivered. The bank will also deliver an additional €1.3 billion for infrastructure projects and develop a multi-billion euro package to mitigate the consequences of the refugee crisis and help address the social and economic fallout caused by the war, both in the neighboring regions and within the EU. But there is still the issue of that other tragedy, the one that is less concerned with the body and more with the soul. In this regard, the Institute commends and supports Europa Nostra and Global Heritage Fund's call for donations to help the defenders of cultural heritage in the Ukraine, as well as those working in the cultural heritage world who have been rendered refugees. As the example of the Ukraine shows, cultural heritage is about far more than stones and bones from the past. It is a key resource for our European identity, as the Commissioner has just said, without which economic growth is meaningless. Some nations look to their sovereign for their identity, some to other expressions of their sovereignty, such as their flag or their constitution. Every nation or alliance of nations needs its totem. So what is the EU's totem? What we have is what the rest of the world acknowledges we have, our European cultural heritage. This heritage has a cohesive power which connects European people and communities. As Hermann Patzinger said in his essay, Togetherness, a New Heritage Deal for Europe, published by the EIB Institute, whether we like it or not, we are all intrinsically connected to our past. This cohesive power can help the EU deliver the European Green Deal as demonstrated in the Cultural Heritage Green Paper published last year by Europa Nostra and ICOMOS and supported by the Institute. For all these reasons, the EIB Institute is once again proud to be supporting the 7 Most Endangered programme with Europa Nostra, Europa's leading cultural heritage organization. The innovative cooperation between our 2 organizations, united to safeguard heritage sites in danger, mixes the vast cultural expertise and lobbying work of Europa Nostra and the technical appraisal and rescue planning skills of the EIB. In addition to this expertise, since last year, each of the selected 7 projects are eligible for an EIB Institute grant of up to €10,000, provided they have a viable use for it. It is a limited amount of money, and it might not in itself save a site, but it can help finance an awareness raising campaign, a feasibility study to safeguard an endangered monument, or even the tarpaulin needed to protect a church without a roof. The EIB Institute's mission has always been to make €1 do the work of 10, and we could not achieve this goal if it were not for the brilliance and originality of Europa Nostra in the way it uses its resources. Some 2021 projects have already benefited from this financing, like the Giusti Gardens in Verona or the 5 southern Aegean islands in Greece. I hope many more will take advantage of this new opportunity the EIB Institute is offering. In its now 9 years of existence, the 7 Most Endangered programme has proven useful and efficient to raise awareness and save sites like the Borla Theatre in Antwerp, the Mafra Carrions in Portugal, and the Buzluja monument in Bulgaria. And what better example than the wooden church of Urși village, Valcea County, Romania, a 7 Most Endangered project in 2014, which was awarded both the Grand Prix and the Public Choice Award in last year's European Heritage Awards and Europa Nostra Awards, Europe's top honor in the field of cultural heritage. This year again, from Albania to Germany and from Roman baths to an early 20th century garden city, the 7 laureates illustrate the diversity and richness of Europe's cultural heritage. We have to start somewhere. I fervently hope that when the reconstruction of the Ukraine begins, those priceless heritage items will be restored, protected, and renewed in ways that show that they are not luxuries, they are of the essence, and that this fact will be understood and applied all over our Europe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Henry. Thank you for your vital support and confidence. And many thanks also to your entire team, and especially to Bruno Rossignol, with whom we are liaising almost on a daily basis. It is so important for an organization like ours to have this partnership with the European Investment Bank, such a powerful partner. And so beyond, as you have pointed out, and our executive president, and beyond the 7 Most Endangered program with the European Cultural Heritage Green Paper that we also produce with your vital support. And, you know, as I launch the appeal to the Commissioner, I also want to launch the appeal to the European Investment Bank. Whatever you are doing to support Ukraine, whether it is emergency help or later as part of the reconstruction policy, put cultural heritage also among the priorities, because as you yourself said, it's important for something which is not just body, there is something which is a soul and identity. So we count very much on you to to continue playing an extremely important part there. And we look very much forward to celebrating together next year the 10th anniversary of this important program, the 7 Most Endangered. And when I speak about the Jubilee, I can't also not greet our Executive Vice President, Guy Cloos. He was your predecessor, one of your predecessors as Dean of the Institute. And together with him, we have dreamed about this program and then realized this program. And now he is with us. When he retired from the bank, he has become a very dedicated volunteer within the board of Europa Nostra. So now I would like to give the floor to the dedicated nominators of each of the 7 most endangered sites. Therefore, we should start our European journey together. And we should start them in the Balkans, in Albania, with the impressive Zogu Bridge. Video, please. It is my pleasure to give the floor to Marilda Letti, our individual member from Albania.
Merci, James. Hello to everyone. Greetings and thanks to the representatives and collaborators of Europa Nostra, whose work is so valuable and has to do with the most beautiful part of a country, history, art, identity. Greetings to all the colleagues who, like me, had the good fortune to be part of this program and to contribute to the national heritage of their country. I'm honored to be speaking in front of you today. I'm Marilda Letti. I'm an individual member of Europa Nostra. Meanwhile, I run an organization, a youth organization called Sebastia, based in Lach, Albania, which is very close to the site nominated. The Zogus Bridge has played the role of the cornerstone for the organization itself. Zogus Bridge is the heritage of the first category, with a great architectural style and a very modern technique for the time, built in 1927. The bridge was commissioned by the King Zog I, so it is known by his name, otherwise the bridge with 5 arches. It is surrounded by a wonderful landscape and has become a symbol of our area. The bridge connects northern Albania, but also connects 2 different political systems, and is evidence of a very important period for Albania, such as the reign of King Zog. It has been damaged for a long time, and the interventions by the responsible institutions have been few. Due to natural causes, but also human, Albania risks losing today one of the most valuable assets of local architecture. In this context, the volunteers of the Sebastia organization set in motion to raise awareness, but not only, also to seek intervention to preserve and prevent the collapse of Zogus Bridge. A petition has been signed, which has been of great interest among the locals. There have been several protests and some media reactions on this issue. This has led us to address our case to Europa Nostra, and it should be noted. Europa Nostra has been very available to listen to us, but not only, also to come to our aid, sharing with us the same concern, loss of cultural heritage. A little above, I quoted that the Zogus Bridge has been a cornerstone for our organizations, as this has been the most significant initiative, the most supported by the community, and has taught all the activists that without roots, there are no new branches. Not in vain, all the initiatives of our future aim at connecting the identity and reviving the love for our country. Once again, I thank Europa Nostra for appreciating this site for its values and for not standing idly by to see its demise. And I wish that with the help of all institutions, partner organizations, and the community, we can do our best for the Bridge of Zogo. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you so much, Emarilda. It's wonderful to see how strong is the civil society in Albania and getting so much engaged for cultural heritage. So we very much hope that all together we will celebrate the renaissance and of the Zogo Bridge. And we love bridges because that's all about connecting people and working together. So we shall be working very closely together. Now, from the Balkans, we will travel all the way to Belgium, not far from Brussels, and more specifically in Nivelles, in Wallonie. And we shall meet there colleagues from Europa Nostra Belgium, country representation of Europa Nostra, and nominators of the Récollet Convent. Bonjour Belgique, goedemorgen België. We greet all colleagues and we give the floor to Louis Maret.
Don't have any film?
Oh, yes, yes. I was so keen to hear your voice and I forgot that I have to just ask a video, please. After the video, la parole est à Louis Maret.
Thank you very much. First of all, hello Kiev, hello Natalia. We are with you and we cross the fingers. First of all, I will thank you all for all the jury to have chosen the convent of Nivelles in the 7th endangered list. The hard work we did with the participation of the thousands of inhabitants is recognized, and with the city association of Les Amis des Récollets, we are sure it is an important momentum for the 500 years old site. We want to celebrate the anniversary in 2024 in the best way. Why is this decision of the jury important? Because it's exemplative of the situation of a lot of municipalities all over Europe. The cities are in financial difficulties, and when they are not selling the heritage sites to make money, they are looking for new private partners to save what can be saved. These public and private collaboration about heritage needs a framework with guarantees to preserve their heritage sites. In that way, the case of Nivelles is larger than a local or a regional situation. The objective now is still to obtain listing as monument and as heritage site of all the complete convent and the park. With the support of Europa Nostra and the Institute of the European Investment Bank, we hope for positive decisions by the town, the owner, and the Walloon Minister for Heritage in that sense. We propose now to improve and rebuild the relation with the authorities, local, regional, and national, with the heritage experts of the administration, with the historians, and also with the private investor. We suggest to choose a mediator, expert in heritage preservation, to work together with all these concerned parties. We would like to see the Royal Museums of Art and History realize the scientific study that his archaeologists proposed 3 years ago in vain. It's important to know with precision the real history of the convent, its construction, and the real patrimonial situation. We suggest also to visit with the authorities a convent in Europe which succeed in this restoration renovation and which is an example of intelligent protection. Your proposals are welcome. we suggest the use of the 10,000 euros of the European Bank Institute. Thank you for that. To realize all these points with the enthusiasm of the positivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis, for the enthusiasm, positivity, and we know when Europa Nostra Belgium take a challenge, it is very often successful. And with our Vice President Piet Jaspert from Belgium, I think, and with our support, we look forward to the celebration in 2024 in a, as you say, in style with the Save the Convent of the Récollet. Now, from Belgium, we move to the neighboring country, France. We will discover another of our 7 most endangered sites for 2022, the Garden City La Butte Rouge, located near Paris. Video, please. Bonjour la France. We have with us Patricia Landry, nominator of the site and individual member of Europa Nostra. Madame Landry is also a member of the Association Châtenay Patrimoine Environnement, a French NGO dedicated to the preservation of the cultural and environmental heritage of the city of Châtenay-Malabry, where this site is located. Madame Landry, la parole est à vous.
Good morning to all, and I'm greatly honored to be part of this event. So I will be speaking. Is that strong enough? Is that loud enough?
Yes, we hear you. Okay. We see you. All is perfect.
Okay, good. So I'm really happy to be part of this event, and so I will give you a few elements about what's happening in the Garden City. So it's we have been very, very happy and comforted about the support that we receive from Europa Nostra, because and also by the support of the Institute of the European Bank of Investment. So as it is, I represent a group of associations and individuals who have been strongly committed to defending this wonderful flagship Garden City, which was initiated in the 1930s and completed in the 60s. And as was said in the short video, the city displays a particularly successful combination of excellency in architecture, in landscaping, along with a full-fledged social project. So it combines all these aspects. It is also being said that it would be wonderful to have a city in the countryside, and this is exactly what the Garden City has managed to do. It demonstrates the innovative and forward conception that was it was based on at the time it was built, but it may also lead the way into the future, because it takes all the aspects into consideration, such as the human habitat, the environment, and social justice and sustainability. So all of these make it a very complete garden city and a model. It could certainly play a role in the years to come. Just to not to be too long, I would also like to pay a tribute to the people who are giving so much of their energy and determination, creativity as well, in order to find ways to fight back the planned destruction of the site. The family, just to conclude, I will say that the family of the architects who designed the project in the 20s and in the 30s rather. They are part of our group, and they have warned the town hall that if the destruction take place, they will sue the town because this garden city is considered as personal heritage, not just as common heritage. And so we have 3 lawyers who are already working on who've been commissioned by the associations to work on the legal means that we have. So it's all very much a question of timing, because the demolition permits have already been issued. And so we have little time to act, but we are we're still very determined. And the contribution of Europa Nostra is a wonderful help. And and so we are really strongly as ever determined to continue and do everything that's possible. Thank you very much for your help and support.
Thank you so much, Madame Landry. We have got your message that there is urgency. And alas, we can see that destruction can happen also in peacetime. Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, it would be very paradoxical that at the moment when Europe is promoting a new European Bauhaus, and promoting the type of architecture that exactly in the 30s of last century, the garden city that you are fighting to preserve has in fact implemented already, it will be paradoxical if it would be destroyed. So I think, we will join forces and make sure that this become not a victim, but rather a model and an example for also the new European Bauhaus that is promoted by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen.
Okay, thank you very much.
So from France, we now move to Germany, to the historic center of Stolberg, near Aachen, which has been severely damaged by catastrophic rainfall with related floods in summer 2021. Video, please. Guten Morgen, Deutschland. After these terrifying pictures, it is my great pleasure to give the floor to Karen Speer and Walter Bramhorst, the nominators of this site to our program.
Good morning, bonjour, buongiorno, hola, and guten Morgen. What started with an initiative of 2 neighbors has become what the French say, le léonas. So please allow me to introduce just a few people who have supported us. I will start at the upper end of the table. It's Professor Rice, who did his best to help us. It is Mrs. Dos Santos who found the way from Berlin, from the German Bundestag here to celebrate with us the nomination of Stolberg. Thank you very much. It is Mr. Emmons from the City Council, as well as Natalie Stärke from the City Council, who is representing the administration. We have Mrs. Lenz from the Monument Protection Office here in Stolberg, but probably one of our most important collaborators in the future. We have Mr. Zaini from the Integration Council. We have our mayor, Mr. Haas. We have Mr. Muller from the press. We do have Mr. Altenau, the probably most experienced historian we have in Stolberg. We have Mr. Tisch from the City Council. We have Dr. Custis, as I said, and last but surely not least, we have Marika Motorcycle from the city marketing, all of them assisted. So Stolberg has become a sad example of what climate change may mean. And we are very, very grateful for the nomination of Europa Nostra, because well, among these many numberless old buildings, more than 750 we have out of 5 centuries, so many were badly damaged. And it is mandatory that we not just will rebuild the city, but build it back better, which is an enormous challenge. But the guidance is clearly on the table. It is the New Deal. It has to be not just a New Deal, it has to be a Green Deal in the sense of what proposed by the European Parliament, the new European Bauhaus. So this enormous challenge is, of course, a multidisciplinary task, and no city administration will probably be able to solve such a problem on its own. And this is our great hope, where Europa Nostra can step in and assist us with a very many years lasting professional experience. On the other hand, I dare to say we can assure you that we, all the Stolbergers, will do our best to make that project and this support that was offered us by Europa Nostra a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see so many people gathered to witness the inclusion of Stolberg on our list. Count on us to accompany you. It's wonderful to see how much you're dedicated to build back better. And I know that our executive vice president recently visited Stolberg with Sabine Verheyen, the chair of the European Parliament Committee for Culture and Education. Many people are dedicating to build back better this extraordinary city. And I see also our vice president from Germany, Alexander Susanne Wittgenstein, who is with us, our, of course, executive president, who is also from Germany. I think all together we will witness the renaissance of this extraordinary city. Now from Germany, we will go to Romania. And the selected site is a stunning site of the Neptune Baths, located in the ancient thermal town of Baile Herculane. Video, please. Let me give the floor to Oana Cirilla from the Locus Association, a member organization of Europa Nostra from Romania.
Thank you very much, and bună dimineața to you all. It is a great honor to be among the 7 sites selected in this special program. I would like to thank my team, because this was a team effort and we truly believe in the power of cooperation and collaboration. I would also like to thank our partners and sponsors for all the help, expertise, and support shown over the past few years. It has been a great honor to work with them. I also want to thank to all the thousands of individual donors without whom we couldn't have developed this project, and who are our source of inspiration and encouragement every single day. And you know, when you have thousands of people who truly believe in the potential of the place you're trying to save, in our case, this amazing building, Neptune Baths, you cannot hope for a better reward than their smile and fulfillment when they come together in support of you. I would also like to say a few words about what it means for us to be among these 7 selected sites. For us, the 7 most endangered, it is not about the endangered or not about the decay. It's actually about the hope of a new beginning, of a new chapter for our site. It is about the European value that Herculane has and will continue to have. It is about the hard work that all of our volunteers did in our 5 years of activity. It is about the thousands of donations and encouragements that we have received in the past years. And I feel like it's also about the passion and commitment that we've put into this project, even when we couldn't have seen any solution in the challenges that we were facing. And, you know, in the golden times, Herculane had this concept of health and happiness. And it is still there written on the decayed facades, but in Latin, it said Saluti e Laetitia. And actually, this is what we are striving for, the health and happiness of this site and of its community. We started out as a group of young students 5 years ago, without very much knowledge in this field, without any resources. We were just afraid and perhaps insecure, as you are in the beginning of a new adventure, but we wanted to make a change, to do good for a community. And I feel like, you know, the most essential asset that perhaps it's common for all heritage volunteers and workers, it's passion. And we stand as proof that change can happen if you're passionate, if you're committed, and if you work hard through all the challenges. And thank you again for all the support for this great opportunity. Thank you to Europa Nostra team, because you have been very, very helpful in the past few months. Thank you to the jury and everyone involved in this wonderful program. And I wish you the best of luck in continuing this great program that you built for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. We have seen yet another example of civil society in action and the young generation in action for cultural heritage. I think in Romania, you are extremely good at that. And you know, you said that you want to bring back health and happiness to that building. I think we all want to bring back health and happiness to our Europe as a whole. So that's why there is an incredible symbolism of the hopefully the renaissance of this extraordinary site. So the hard work is still ahead of us. But if we do it together, I'm sure we will succeed. Now from Romania, we travel to Spain, to the beautiful Orléans Bourbon Palace, located in Andalusia, near Cadiz, in Sanlúcar de Barrameda. Video, please. Buenos días, España. As you have seen, the nominator of this site is Hispania Nostra, Europa Nostra's country representation in Spain. But since this is the European Year of the Youth, Hispania Nostra decided that the spokeswoman of this organization for this occasion will be Jasna Popovic, who is a young member of not only Hispania Nostra, but also Europa Nostra. And she is also this year one of the European Heritage Youth Ambassadors, a program that Europa Nostra has developed in partnership with ESAH, the European Students Association for Cultural Heritage, and the European Heritage Tribune. Draga Jasna, the floor is yours.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Greetings from Madrid, from Spain. The location of the palace indeed is in Sanlúcar de Barrameda in Andalusia, but we are now reading from the capital. To our all dear friends from Europa Nostra and beyond, first, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address this audience on behalf of the Palace Bourbon Orleans, the proposal for the 7th most endangered program that we from Hispania Nostra submitted for this year's edition. I would also like to thank our members and active partners from the province of Cádiz and more concretely from Sanlúcar de Barrameda, who tirelessly work with us on this proposal. This beautiful architectonical gem, as you've seen on the pictures and videos, has been brought to our attention mid last year, so 2021, when the citizens of Sanlúcar asked for its inclusion on the red list of cultural heritage that we run in Hispania Nostra. Upon reviewing the available documents, our committee of independent experts included the palace on the list, and we thought it would be a perfect example of Spanish cultural heritage at risk to be presented for Europa Nostra's program 7th Most Endangered. So we continue to work on the proposal. Young activists were instrumental in the creation of this dossier, and alongside with the local cultural associations, we were able to bring to light this amazing site as one in, unfortunately, danger in Europe. We really hope that this heritage site will shed some more light on the amazingly rich cultural heritage of Andalusia, Spanish region widely known as the historical crossroad of many, many civilizations and cultures, and also a gateway between Europe and South America. The history of the building is as interesting as the lives of those who inhabited it. And the blend of the styles and architectonical elements shows us how different architectonic and artistic movements and components can wonderfully work together to create this fabulous place. We hope that via this program, we get to share it all with you and more. The inclusion into Europa Nostra list of endangered heritage for us means more positive impact on the mobilization of the local community and aware raising regarding the current state of the palace, but also the future that is yet to be written. We hope that since the palace is the property of the local town hall, we will establish more close relationship with them, and in collaboration we get to save the palace. To conclude, we are thrilled to have this site included, and we hope that this is the beginning of the amazing journey that is ahead of us. We would like to thank both our partners here in Spain, in Andalusia, for working closely with us, but also to the whole Europa Nostra team, to the Secretary General, and to the officer in charge of this program, Sarah, who helped me a lot throughout this month. So we are looking forward to continuing our collaboration both here in Spain and wherever in Europe is needed. Greetings. Hasta luego.
Gracias, Jasna. Hispania Nostra is a very strong brand in Spain, and your red list, the Lista Roja, is also very well known. And so we are confident that when you take the lead, and then with our help, we will indeed succeed to save this gem for future generations. And now to conclude this small tour of Europe, let us discover more about the last site that is on our list of this year, and this is the Crèvecoeur Fortress in the Netherlands. Video, please. Goedemorgen Nederland. We give the floor now to Karel Loef, Director of the Bonheemschut, the Dutch Association for Heritage Protection, and Europa Nostra's founding member organization from the Netherlands. Beste Karel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Snežka, and welcome all, and happy to attend this important meeting. And when I see all these monuments in disrepair, my heart is bleeding. So it's a little sadness, but it's also the happiness to see that this program is really working, and that over the years monuments have been restored and also can have a new function. Our organization is active since 1911, so we are 111 years old, and we are one of the oldest citizens movements who are trying to get heritage protected and also restored. And it's important to see that in all over Europe now, a lot of foundations are there, and people are coming together to have the same goal to protect heritage and to strive for these important monuments. I'm taking you to the fortress of 's-Hertogenbosch, Fort Crèvecœur, and the city of 's-Hertogenbosch is really very keen on restoring its heritage. In the 1950s, there was an interference by our citizen movement when they tried to have an old canal filled up by a road, which we could prevent by local and national action. And since then, the city of Den Bosch is really an example of the best cities in the Netherlands for heritage protection, which we have. Still, there's one problem left, and one issue is a big issue, and that's the fortress which we are talking today, Fort Crèvecœur. It was built in 1587, and the fortress was a fulcrum at the then nascent country of the Netherlands, which was gaining independence from Spain. It was strategically located at a point where the river Dieze flows into the Maas River, and the fortress played an important role in Dutch military and diplomatic history for more than 300 years. So it's also a symbolic fortress. In 1629, during the siege of the town of 's-Hertogenbosch, the fortress was used as headquarters by the Dutch. And the Dutch-Spanish negotiations, the sovereignty of the two countries was recognized, and the principle of non-interference by foreigners in internal affairs was introduced to European politics. The successful negotiations at the Crèvecœur fortress are considered to prelude a period of peace in Europe, and we hope that it will remain a peaceful Europe for a long time. In 1819, the fortress fell into decline, and that was the beginning of another period. In World War II, the fortress was used by the Dutch army, by the German army, as a bridgehead over River Maas until 1944. And after the war, the Dutch army has used the fortress as a training ground. It is owned by the Ministry of Defense. It is listed as a national monument since 1973, and it is now severely neglected. It needs urgent restoration, as you could see, because a lot of the buildings, but also the fortified walls, the earthworks are into disrepair. It's now also part of the Southern Water Defense Line, which is listed as well, and it's a very important touristic opportunity to get this fortress into a wider perspective. By action of a lot of people and the city of Den Bosch, there was a fruitful cooperation between all levels, and citizens group pleaded for nature, forest and agricultural land management, and to get this fortress into a new function for recreational purpose as well. Now the nomination is also doing something which is really good already, because we are into contact with the Ministry of Defense, with the State Department for Cultural Heritage, and the first steps are already taken to just try to protect the main buildings on the fortress. So the pre-listing is already doing its work, though it's very difficult to get the Ministry of Defense to get the next steps. And in this, the cooperation of the different public bodies is very important. And this is one of the most tough issues which we are facing now. So we're really happy that this listing is there and that we are cooperating together to get every public body into the same line to get also into the restorational project, and that we can also open up the fortress for the public, because that's one of the plans which is now the most difficult to reach, that the fortress will be one of the parts of the Maas Park, which is the project which will open up the whole area for recreational purpose as well. We're also very happy with the European Investment Bank Institute and the incentive, which will really help to get more initiatives to get this process in a very next step and a next phase. And we hope also that the Ministry of Defense will really open up its place and to restore. One of the other issues which we noticed was that the listing was also giving us more the details on other objects which are now owned by the Ministry of Defense in other parts of the Netherlands. And there was even one of the military people who invited us at another place where are same objects which are, well, different objects but with the same problem, that they need repair very urgently. So the nomination is really doing a very good work for us. It gives us really a backing that we can strive for restoration. It's sad to see that even in the Netherlands, with a lot of money and a lot of attention to heritage, it's necessary to get buildings listed. But we are really happy with Europa Nostra, the European Investment Bank and the other partners to get this solved and to really open up the fortress and to restore it. Thank you very much.
Heel veel dank, Karel. Bond Heemschut is also a very important brand in the Netherlands. You have quite a track record during the 111 years of your history. I still remember when we celebrated your 100th anniversary with the much-deserved award from the European Union and Europa Nostra for Bond Heemschut. So when you join forces with the heritage-minded city of Den Bosch, they have also received a number of our awards, and with our modest support, we really hope that, all together we will make a difference. And as you say, this Crèvecoeur fortress will see its renaissance. Now, dear colleagues and friends, since, as you have heard at the very beginning, in addition to the 7, there is also the most endangered heritage in Europe, and that is the cultural heritage in Ukraine. I was hoping to give the floor to Natalia Musienko, but I see that, the connection, I am not getting the connection anymore. Natalia, are you there? No? No, in any case, she has been with us and she is sending me messages of great gratitude to all of us for everything we are doing. We are liaising with her, and we are liaising with many other heritage colleagues in Ukraine, very much through and with the help of our colleagues from Krakow International Cultural Center, the city of Krakow. And I would like to ask our team to share in the chat the link also to the webinar that we will organize in 2 days' time at 2 o'clock Central European Time. We will have a webinar with our colleagues from Ukraine and a number of organizations. We joined forces with our World Heritage and with the Global Heritage Fund organization that we launched, the joint crowdfunding. So we will get together to hear the voices and the needs of our colleagues in Ukraine, and to see how we, the civil society, can can join forces to help them better. So please, if you want to join that webinar, you can all register. It's now 11:30. Allow us 5 more minutes. I would like to give first the floor to just a closing remark from our dear partner, Henry Blumenthal from the European Investment Bank Institute, to sort of, after all this presentation, Henry, your impressions.
Thank you, Snezhka. If I may allow myself a personal comment, it would be this. You know, I work for the philanthropic arm of the European Investment Bank, and the European Investment Bank has a balance sheet which is equal to that of all the other multinational banks put together, including the World Bank and EBRD and so forth. And the main objective of the bank is primarily within the European Union, but also in the neighboring countries and around the world, to invest in infrastructure of various kinds, which enable us to work harder and faster and more efficiently and make more and more money and become more and more prosperous. Now, what is the point of doing that if we are always with our nose to the grindstone and we never lift our eyes up to the heavens? What is the point? We need, presumably, as we work harder and faster and more efficiently, we will have, I suppose, more leisure. And what will we do with that leisure? Will we look for ways to kill each other, or will we look for civilized, decent, uplifting activities that raise the heart, lift the heart up to the heavens, and speak to the soul? And really, I hope, if there's one thing I do in my last years at the EIB, if I can help to persuade my colleagues and counterparts in the financial world to bring more than just the seed capital to this field, I will feel that it's been worth it. And you know, every time we have this ceremony, it's been now 9 years, every time we have this ceremony, I can't help thinking what a wonderful organization Europa Nostra is. The tremendous vision and energy, especially brought to it by Snezhka, by Herman, the support from at the highest level, all due to that energy, enthusiasm, and mission. This year, it's particularly poignant, of course, because of the Ukraine. And I do hope that it will be well understood that we are not just there with our cash, but with our affection and our hopes for Ukraine's brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry. Your words, I would say, are music to our ears. And, you know, hearing from somebody working for a European Investment Bank, speaking about, not just about cash, but about the meaning of our life, the meaning of our Europe. And indeed, everything what we are doing here is so much more than saving some stones and some bricks. We are saving the soul, the memory, and the identity of our Europe. So thank you for being our partner, and bring back all these messages to all your colleagues in Luxembourg. In any case, we feel stronger to have you as our partner. Dear colleagues and friends, after this extraordinary moment that we have spent together, I think the real work starts now. For each of the 7 sites and us, together with them. Together with our partners, we will mobilize our technical expertise, financial resources, and our whole network to support your efforts and your cause, which has now become also our cause, and therefore has become our shared responsibility. And before closing, I wish to thank all nominators, all members of the advisory panel, and all members of Europa Nostra who took part in the selection process of the 7 Most Endangered program. You are all the guarantees of the relevance and credibility of our program. And of course, let me add a word of praise to our Europa Nostra dream team, who has worked hard to prepare the selection and the announcement of this year's list of 7 most endangered, starting by our coordinator of our program, Sara Zanini, and then to Joanna, Vicky, Lorena, Louise, Chagla, Manon, Walter, and the rest of our great team that I'm so proud of working from The Hague and Brussels. And last but not least, many thanks to all of you who have joined us for this event. Our team will now share in the chat a link to a feedback form. Please share with us your evaluation of this online LM, because this is really important for us to hear your impressions, and it will help us to further improve the quality and outreach of our work. And it will just take you a couple of minutes, so please do it. Thank you all for joining our efforts to save endangered sites in Europe. And thank you for pinpointing us other sites which need our support, and possibly for nominating some of these sites for the next edition of our 7 Most Endangered program in 2023, when we will also mark the 10th anniversary, as you have already heard. And the next call for nomination will be launched before the summer. Dear colleagues and friends, let us indeed use cultural heritage as a vector for peace, dialogue, exchange, social cohesion and inclusion, and for climate action and sustainable development. Let's work for our much needed peaceful coexistence, because we will always be stronger together. Thank you so much for your attention.